Hello, good morning to you. My name is Moin, and you are listening to Moin Uddin so, and it's a morning motivational series. And yeah, what I'm doing is, since last 5 days, what I'm doing is that I am reading a book, True Love: A Practice for Awakening the Heart by Thich Nhat Hanh. So I have already covered till chapter 5. The first chapter was the four aspects of love, and the second chapter was love is being there. Third chapter was recognizing the presence of the other. Fourth chapter was being there when someone is suffering, and fifth chapter was overcoming pride. So today, this morning, I'm going to tell you about deep listening, and chapter 7, learning to speak with love again, and chapter 8, restoring peace within yourself. So here goes the chapter 6, deep listening. You have received the transmission of the four mantras for the practice of true love. You know that it is not difficult to practice these mantras. You should learn them by heart, and you must have the courage, the wisdom, and the joy to practice them. But if the situation has already become extremely difficult, what can you do? What can you do if love has already caused too much suffering between the two of you? For appearances, you behave so that others will think that you two are still living together and that you still find joy in living together. But in reality, there is no more joy. There is no more happiness. There isn't even communication anymore. You have lost the capacity to listen and to speak. Communication has become difficult. In fact, impossible. What can you do in a situation like this? The two of you have been living together and making each other suffer. According to Buddhism, we are dealing with samyojana, the lump of suffering within us that is translated as an internal formation. When you say something that makes another person suffer, that person develops an internal formation. If that person is trained in Buddhism, he or she will know how to unite that knot. If not, he will let it remain there in the depths of his consciousness. If a person who practices mindfulness, you will be aware that a knot has been formed in the person you love, and you will know how to untie it. Every day we say or do things that might leave behind internal formations. In the person we love, following that, then the suffering and pain can grow, and the person we love turns into something like a bomb that might explode at any moment. A few words are all it takes to trigger anger in this person who you are afraid to approach and who you are afraid to talk to, because he or she has become a bomb loaded with too much suffering. When you try to get away from him or her, this person thinks that you do so out of contempt, and the suffering increases. You also have become a bomb because you have lost the ability to speak the language of peace, of understanding. You have lost the ability to listen, and so all communications has become impossible. In Buddhism, we talk about a bodhisattva called Avalokit, Avalokiteswara, the one who has the ability to listen and to understand the suffering of others. If we evoke his name, it is in order to listen to. If we evoke his name, it is in order to learn to listen. In everyday life, deep listening, attentive listening is a meditation. If you know the practice of mindful breathing, if you wish to maintain calm and living compassion within you, then deep listening will be possible. Through the practice of walking meditation, through sitting meditation, Through mindful breathing, we can cultivate calm, we can cultivate awareness, and we can cultivate compassion. And that is, and that way we will be able to sit there and listen to the other. The other suffers as long as he is in need of someone to listen to him. And you are the person who can do it. If someone has to have resources, so see, if someone has to have resource to a psychotherapist, it is because no one in his house can listen. A psychotherapist should be able to sit there and really listen. But I know therapists who have suffered too much or do not truly have the ability to listen to their clients. So if we love someone, we should train in being able to listen. By listening with calm and understanding, we can ease the suffering of another person. An hour spent in this way can already relieve a great deal of another person's pain. In Plum Village, our practice place, in Plum Village, our practice place, deep listening is a very important practice. Every week, we get together once or twice to practice listening deeply to each other. Thich Nhat Hanh writes, every week we get together once or twice to practice listening deeply to each other. As we listen, we do not say anything. We breathe deeply and we open our hearts in order to really listen to one another. 1 hour of this kind of listening is very effective, and it is something very precious that can be offered to the person you love. So by the way, my name is Moin and you are listening to Moin Uddin. So you can subscribe my channel Moin Uddin So on YouTube, as well as you can like my page Moin Uddin So on Facebook. So yeah, that's the end of the chapter 6, deep listening. Now I'm going to tell you about chapter 7, and the chapter name is learning to speak with love again. So here it goes. Associated with the practice of deep listening is the practice of loving speech. We must learn to speak with love again. This is a thing that can be done in a practice community where brothers and sisters practice loving speech every day. There are pacifists who can write protest letters of great condemnation but who are incapable of writing a love letter. You have to write in such a way that the other person is receptive toward reading. You have to speak in such a way that the other person is receptive toward listening. If you do not, it is not worth the trouble to write or to speak. To write in such a way is to practice meditation. I remember a young American who came to us to practice. One day he was asked to write a letter to his mother, which was easy for him. On the other hand, it was impossible for him to write a letter to his father. His father had died, but he still suffered every time he thought of him. Just the idea of picking up a pen to write to his father already caused him a great deal of suffering. I proposed the following practice to him. For 1 week, he practiced mindful breathing, saying to himself, breathing in, I see myself as a child of 5. Breathing in, I see myself as a child of 5. When one is a little boy of 5, one is very fragile and vulnerable. As he was breathing in, he saw himself as the object of his own compassion. During the 2nd week, he meditated on his father, breathing in. I see my dad as a little child of 5, and breathing out, I smile at the little boy who was my dad. For a whole week, the young American practiced very faithfully and very enthusiastically. He put a photo of his father on the table, and every time he walked into the room and looked at it, he practiced mindful breathing. He had never imagined that his father could have been a child of 5. Suddenly, the young man acknowledged the presence of his father as a little boy. It was the first time that he realized that his father had suffered as a little boy, and suddenly he felt compassion. Finally, one evening, he found it possible to write a first letter to his father. That transformed him completely, and now he has peace in his heart. Meditation is the practice of looking deeply into the nature of your suffering and your joy. Through the energy of mindfulness, through concentration, looking deeply into the nature of our suffering makes it possible for us to see the deep causes of that suffering. If you can keep mindfulness and concentration alive, then looking deeply will reveal to you the true nature of your pain, and freedom will arise as a result of your sustaining a deep vision into the nature of your pain. Solidity, freedom, calm, and joy are the fruits of meditation. So yeah, that's the end of chapter 7. My name is Moin, and what I'm doing is I'm reading a book, True Love, a practice for awakening the heart. And this book is written by Thich Nhat Hanh. So I'm going to continue. I'm going to read chapter 8, and the chapter 8 says, restoring peace within yourself. And here it goes. During the day, if you practice walking meditation, each step brings you back to the present moment. Each step enables you to touch what is beautiful, what is true. And in this way, after a few weeks of practice, joy will become something possible. You will be able to undo many knots within yourself. And you will be able to transform negative energies into joy and peace. The Buddha said this: the object of your practice should first be yourself. Buddha said, the object of your practice should first of all be yourself. Your love for the other, your ability to love another person, depends on your ability to love yourself. If you are not able to take care of yourself, if you are not able to accept yourself, how could you accept another person, and how could you love him or her? So it is necessary to come back to yourself in order to be able to achieve the transformation. Each of us is a king who reigns over. So yeah, what I'm saying is, each of us is a king who reigns over a very vast territory that has 5 rivers. The first river is our body, which we do not know well enough. The second is the river of sensations. Each sensation is a drop of water in this river. There are pleasant sensations, others that are unpleasant, and neutral sensations. To meditate is to sit down on the bank of the river of sensations and identify each sensation as it arises. The third is the river of perceptions, which it is necessary to observe. You must look deeply into their nature in order to understand. The fourth is the river of mental formations, of which there are 51. And finally, the fifth is the river of consciousness. Our territory is really very far. The writer writes, our territory is really very vast, but we are not responsible kings, queens. We always try to doze away, and we do not keep up a real surveillance of our territory. We have the feeling that there are immense conflicts there, too much suffering, too much pain. That is the reason we are very hesitant to get back to our territory. Our daily practice consists in running away. If we have a moment free, we will make use of it to watch television or read a magazine article, so we will not have to go back to our territory. We are afraid of the suffering that is inside us, afraid of a war and conflicts. The practice of mindfulness, the practice of meditation, consists of coming back to ourselves in order to restore peace and harmony. The energy with which we can do this is the energy of mindfulness. Mindfulness is a kind of energy that carries with it concentration, understanding, and love. If we come back to ourselves to restore peace and harmony, then helping another person will be a much easier thing. Caring for yourself, reestablishing peace in yourself, is the basic condition for helping someone else so that the other can stop being a bomb, a source of pain for ourselves and others. You really have to help him to defuse the bomb. To be able to provide help, we have to have a little calm, a little joy, a little compassion in ourselves. This is what we get from mindfulness in everyday life, because mindfulness is not something that is only done in a meditation hall. It is also done in the kitchen, in the garden, when we are on the telephone, when we are driving a car, when we are doing the dishes. If you can do it in this way, 3 weeks are enough to transform the pain inside you. If you can do it this way, 3 weeks are enough to transform the pain inside you, to bring back your joy in living, to cultivate the energy of compassion with which you can help the person you love. The practice of being there with what is beautiful and with what is healing is something we should do every day. And it is possible to do this in everyday life. So yeah, that's the end of chapter 8 as well. I will come back tomorrow again at the same time. My name is Moin Uddin, and you are listening to Moin Uddin. So you can subscribe my channel Moin Uddin so on for YouTube, as well as you can like my page Moin Uddin so that you can get lots of programs or say lots of things that I do over here. So you can provide me a feedback. What do you think about it? And then you can just let me know, or you can just email me moin.writer@gmail.com. So yeah, that's my email. You can write it over there as well. And yeah, Uzma, you wrote, I want to read that book too. Okay, so yeah, you can get this book, True Love: A Practice for Awakening the Heart. It is written by Thich Nhat Hanh. So it is available in the bookstore, or if you want from me, then I can lend you this book. So you can just let me know, and then I shall provide you this book. So thank you for listening. I will be back tonight at 9 p.m. with Nepali edition of the motivational series. So thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful day ahead, and I believe that you might practice what I said or what I read to you. So thank you for listening. Bye. Have a wonderful Wednesday ahead.